Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Elder Scrolls Online video with me, Sherman. Today guys, we're going to be taking a look at the new information that came out today, the Gates of Oblivion and the Blackwood chapter. So there's several things we need to unpack here that is, wow. That's all I can say about it so far. So let me grab my notes. Let's get started. So I do have a notebook. I actually wrote these down just so I wouldn't forget them. All right. So, Gates of Oblivion. What did we know beforehand? We knew that it was going to include her, the Evelyn or Evely True Shot. We knew it was going to include her, but there's new characters. There's one that represents us in the trailer. If you haven't watched the trailer, check it out. I'm going to have a link in the description below, along with a link to this, and also the Update 29 combat preview, which I'll get into in a second. But, Blackwood chapter. So, Blackwood chapter itself is going to be the new thing. This is what's coming first, though, the Flames of Ambition. As you can see, it comes out March 16th. For the Xbox One and PS4, and March 8th for the PC and Stadia. It also goes to Steam. I don't know why they didn't say that. And then Blackwood, and then the unannounced 2 other DLCs. This is a DLC Story Zone one. They said it's going to take place in the Deadlands, which is this, what you see portraited here. And the whole year is basically us against Marin's Dagon. So it's going to be really cool. New zone is Blackwood, of course. It's one zone, not like elsewhere, or not like, not like the Greymoor chapter, which added the two split map things. This is one zone like elsewhere, so one big zone. There's going to be a new 12-man trial, the Rock Grove, and then New World events, these Oblivion portals, which are like mini dungeons, they said, like public dungeons, and randomly spawn. They don't just spawn in specific areas, they said they randomly spawn throughout the zone. There's going to be, usually I think there's 5 new delves, and then 2 public dungeons, 5 world bosses, and then, of course, the standalone quest, which they said it is the equivalent of 30 hours of new story content. The other thing that they're adding, which they don't mention here, we're getting companions, guys. And companions are going to have equipment, their own skills, their own roles, apparently. They didn't really go into too much detail about them. They said they'll release new information on the new companions system closer to the release. Now, if you pre-order, which you can pre-order right now, you get this mount and this bear cub automatically, and then when the release happens, you'll get the Dremora Kinreeve outfit, the Deadlands Wamasu pet, one Iron Atronach crown crate, 3 Blackwood treasure maps, which is normal, and then 2 experience scrolls. And then, of course, on top of that, if you get the collection, you get Blackwood, the Blackwood Collector's Edition, the Blackwood Upgrade, and then whatever. You get a lot of stuff with it when you pre-purchase. Blackwood will have unique locations. We'll have the Nibbin Forest, the Blackwood Bog, and the Deadlands. So those are the 3 unique biomes we're going to have, but there's also another place besides this. So there's the city of Linwith, the Nibbin Forest, and the Wetlands of Bog. And then they talk about that. So really cool. New allies. They say gather new allies with the companion system, allowing you to recruit, travel, and fight with an ally NPC complete with their own stories and character. The unique wares can join you in almost all of your adventures, level up their skills, and use customizable gear and combat abilities and behaviors. With this new system, you'll never have to explore Tamriel alone again. So, like I said, they didn't go into too much detail. Speculative wise, I don't think they're going to be allowed in trials. They said they're not allowed in PvP. So my guess, no trials. I don't know about dungeons because like there's a lot of people who like to two-man stuff, and then like having two people that have like their own tank or own healer or their own DPSs, and one's playing a tank, one's playing a healer, like then you get that kind of group training that you could do. I don't know if they're going to do that. So the first actual release this year is the Flames of Ambition. And this is going to be the dungeon DLC. It will have 6 new gear sets, 2 monster sets. Really, really cool. And then, of course, they talk about some new ESO merch you can buy. They talked about all this stuff. But this wasn't the biggest drop of them all. So the biggest drop was the combat update. Update 29 combat. And the champion point system is coming. And this is coming tomorrow on the PTS. So on the 27th, tomorrow morning, you guys will be able to jump on PTS. I'll be on PTS checking all this stuff out. Because this is something I have been waiting for, is the revamp of the CP system. I feel like the CP system had a lot of flaws, and I agree with what they say in this. And you guys can check this article out yourself, or this post in the forums out yourself, and read through it. So I'm going to give you guys the short term. They found the flaws to be that a lot of people just use the same CP no matter what. Like, I used the same CP on all my builds because there was a lot of choices, but not a lot to choose from. They're going from 33 stars or something like that, 60 star, I forget, to 99 stars. 99 constellations with the new system. And the new system, the new CP rank, I don't know what they're mentioning here. So first, we want a system that encourages horizontal progression as much as vertical progression. So they did say that. They also want a system that reduces calculations per combat action. So the way the new champion system was explained was you're going to have basically a lot of constellations you can fill out, but you can only use 12 active constellations that are... There's some that are active and passive. The passive ones are like stat boosts, and the other ones, the active ones, are things that benefit you in the combat role, or as a DPS role, or as a healer role, or as a tank role. And so this is really interesting the way they did it, because it's nothing like what I thought it was going to be. I thought they were going to turn this into a total like WoW scenario where you're like locked into specific roles, but it's not going to work that way. The other thing is that we're going to 3,000 something points. I think it's 3,600, because they showed it with 1,200 points in each red, green, and blue. And they also changed the names of that. I'll be doing a video covering all this on Friday, hopefully, to where I can cover the champion point system and how it works with the new stuff. But as it says, as noted above, with 12 slotted passives on a champion bar, and this is a new thing added to the champion system. So the champion system now has the 3 constellations. The green one, which is craft, the middle one, which is warfare, and then the other one, which I forget the name of, but it's like something to do with like survivability and stuff. So you have like these 3 trees, again, like we had before, but a lot of more of it is, they said, is passive, more passive stuff with, or less passive stuff with more active choices. So there's a lot of consequence and choices for you. There's a lot of consideration and consequences for your choices with the new system, which I really liked. Again, I'm going to cover all this in a video. There's, like I said, there's way more to unpack in what they talked about today than I could cover in like 15-20 minutes. So, new armor update. So we're also making some armor updates to armor passives in ESO. Historically, armor in Elder Scrolls games provided defense against a variety of damage and bonuses to augment your power. These bonuses range from improving your damage output, your healing capabilities, or simply allowing you to move faster. Ultimately, armor creates another set of choices for you, and we want you to build your character around that. So armor is also combined with the 3 skill lines, for each type granting further bonuses themed around the armor type and the general playstyle. So we'll get into that here down in this section. So it says light armor will confer the following bonuses, penalties per piece of light armor worn: reduce damage taken from magical attacks by 1% per piece. This includes flame, frost, shock, and magic damage, but increases damage taken from martial attacks by 1%. This includes damage types of disease, poison, bleed, and physical. Medium armor is just kind of well-rounded, and again, it doesn't leave a lot of choice, and this is where they kind of irritated me when they were talking about the light and medium heavy armor bonuses and stuff. Like if you look at heavy armor, increases damage taken from magical attacks by 1%. This includes damage types of flame, frost, shock, and magic, but decreases the damage you take from martial attacks by 1% per piece. Again, it's not really something I was happy with, the discussion, because I feel like they've had this in the past. They've already had it in the past. Light armor is definitely geared towards magic types, but there's set bonuses and craftable sets that you can make that can make you more physical based. So this kind of defeats that design structure and amplifies the role structure, which really kind of irritated me, because they've always claimed this game is play how you want. And even Matt, so not Matt Furrer, but Rich Lambert said it in the beginning that they're still encouraging people, want to encourage people how to play the game how they want. He stated it in the video, and then they announced this, and I'm like, this still kind of does that, but it doesn't. It kind of reverses that idea of play how you want, because a lot of people want to be a melee Magicka person, but now they've got this repercussion that the light armor set is geared towards more Magicka-based players, not. So, again, a lot I need to look at in the actual live, like, testing, the PTS, and I will be giving my feedback. Trust me. Next up, advanced stats. This is something I'm so glad about. Anyone who knows what this is, there's a UI add-on that displays more in-depth stats for your character. Like, literally goes into every detail of, like, blocking, block cost, all. This thing does all that and more. And it also is really cool that they say this panel also displays percentages versus flat bonuses, as you can really fine-tune your character. I am so happy they did this, because this is going to make it to where you can really define your stats. Like, you can really get in and min-max if you want to, or you can go in and you can see the adjustments as you make them. So, like, you'll see what set bonuses really do for you. You'll see what your champion points really do for you. And you'll really see all this in this new advanced stats system. And I think this is something the game needed a long time ago. There was a lot of us that had trouble calculating. We had to reverse engineer numbers to get values. And then we had to then figure the proper values so we could get the right stuff, knew how to do this. The old champion point system, by the way, with the new one, that I'm really super happy about. No more jump points, guys. Like, it literally tells you, like, if you put this many points in here, you get this much benefit. I don't know how I feel about the 3,600 champion point cap, because that seems like there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, well, I only have 800 and, whatever, or I have 900 and something, or I have 1,000. And there are people with 3,600. There's people with 4,600. There's people with 8,000 CP already. And you would think these people must live in the game. Well, yeah, they spend a lot of time playing. That's because this is their main game. I have 1,000 something champion points, and so the new champion point system really is cool. So, but take a look at this, read through this, because tomorrow you're going to be able to see a lot more stuff. So tomorrow, when the patch notes hits, I will be covering those, going over the gear sets, going over the two new houses that we're going to be able to test. Um, I will test both dungeons and give my opinions on them, on their difficulty and stuff. And they said one's a classic style dungeon, so it's more standardized to the five bosses with one hard mode. The other one is set to the new standard, where it's got 3 bosses, 3 hard modes, and each of those will each of the dungeons are different in that aspect. And when they were playing through, you could tell that the one that was more classic with the 5 regular bosses and then the hard mode at the end was definitely geared for like beginners, and then the other one was definitely geared for the more I don't want to say hardcore player, but the more experienced player. So I think that's a really cool thing that they did that with the Flames of Oblivion or Ambition, sorry, thing. And then Evely True Shot is going to be in one of the dungeons, and then in the other one is the Daedra that you meet in the main story, where you go to Molag Bal's Realm of Oblivion, and you wind up helping her like take control of one of the houses that Molag Bal's people run, and you help her do that. And they said she's all about power, and then you have that other Evely True Shot, who's more about getting to the point of the problem. So no pun intended. But yeah, really excited for the new champion point system. This is something, and I've said it in the past, the champion point system was flawed in the sense of how it worked. It's still, you have to hit level 50 before you can start unlocking it. So as the game progressed, they talk about this stuff. So I guess you'll still have to unlock it at 50, and it'll still be the vertical plus horizontal. It'll have a mixture of both, just like leveling from 1 to 50 has vertical progression with the leveling, and then the horizontal progression with the unlocking of skills. And then the skills have vertical and horizontal progression, which is really weird. I know a lot of people didn't understand how it could have both, but it's only because it only has 3 ranks that you have to, it has the 4 ranks that you have to get through to get it to morph, and then you have the 3 ranks to get it to morph, and then 3 ranks to get it to its master rank or whatever it is. But that's the point. Like, there's a lot of that with this new system. Our players, again, we don't know anything more than that with this. They also said that a lot of the stats that were attached to the champion point system, they went ahead and put into the character as well. So our characters are going to lose some stats, but not a huge margin of stats. And it's so we can still play the content and complete it. And I think that's really cool. And he was talking about their hardcore team that tests the dungeon difficulty and everything. And they even said that those people will do the dungeons, the hardcore like the hard modes and stuff, without CP. To make sure that it's still even possible to do hard mode without CP for those who want to challenge themselves even more. So I thought that was really kind of an interesting thing to bring up. So, PTS tomorrow. We're going to have this new champion point system, the new armor stat system, which is really just add-ons to what was originally there. We still have all that stuff, but now we have more. And a lot of it's confusing, but also understandable, because now it's like this stuff's directly attached to your character. Then a lot of it being put through the champion point system. I still hope there's some things in the champion point system that allow you to maximize your defensive capabilities and stuff. But as it says here, whether they say here, you spend points in a very specific ways to increase what your character already does, whether that be support, damage, or tanking. It still has that, and then the system's options to augment those actions are few once you break it down to whether you are using magic or stamina. As such, while you're able to progress with the current champion system, you're not getting as much in the way of choice as we'd like. And this is them talking about the classic, or I believe it was the classic system. And now that with the newer system, you're going to have this um, more of an ability to put into support, damage, and tanking. So it's really interesting too, because it looked like the way he explained it, when you have max CP, like you'll be able to maximize a lot of the stars, but you're still limited to your choices. And with that, I don't see how it much changes from the old one to the new one because I haven't messed with it. But I don't know. I really need to get in and look at this because a lot of it was confusing. Like they talked about the new champion system and how like you can only have 12 active slots of the passive or the active benefits, and then you can have these passive ones, which are things that do different stuff. So it's like, yeah, here's what they're talking about. As mentioned earlier, the current champion system relies on passive abilities, and this was largely due to the technology that was available at the time. On the back end, the game would perform a check on most passive abilities each time you perform an action, whether that would be drinking a potion, dodge rolling, or using an ability on your hotbar. The game must also constantly check passive abilities for the right thing at the right time. For example, a champion point ability such as Bastion requires the game to check if a damage shield was cast on every action your character does. So it doesn't matter whether you activated a damage shield or not, it had to do a check on this. Now, it's not going to do that. It's going to work in a different way. From what he said, like you said, you can only have 12 active of these active pass. It's weird. So there's passive abilities in the champion system, which is things that, like I said, increase your stats, and then there's or these passive abilities that do that, and then there's active passives that you can have 12 of. So you can have 3 or 4 from each tree. So 4 from the green, 4 from the red, or 4 from the blue and 4 from the red, and you got to really kind of build out your character to your benefits. Otherwise, like you can go, as they said, more glass cannon, or you can go more this. The other thing was with medium armor. Back to the armor subject, when they were talking about medium armor, well, the medium armor, like I said, is still well rounded, but it's made to be stealthy. It's made to be sly. It's made to be able to avoid combat in a different way. But light and heavy is where most of the bonuses are. Medium armor offers unique bonuses. One example is how light and heavy armor interact with magical and martial damage. So it's like, okay, like there's a lot of cool things they did with this, but at the same time, it still locks the roll system, and I feel like that kind of helps the game but hurts the game because I still know people to this day who are like, I want to tank and light armor. How do I do that? And it's a lot harder to tank and light armor than it is heavy armor. If you're going to tank and light armor, there's a lot of negative to it. Now there's going to be a little bit more positive, but there's still going to be a lot of negative because of the martial attacks. So you're still going to want to use a sword. You're still going to want to use like a sword and shield if you're going to tank with that, even though you can use a ice staff. Ice staff isn't going to give you as much defensive capabilities as a sword and shield, but it does work really well. Now it would be like tanking in heavy armor is more upfront and personal, where light armor is going to be, you're going to want to stay at a distance a little bit, and use CC and crowd control to tank. With medium armor, it's going to be, again, you're going to be wanting to constantly be on the move while tanking, and it's a lot more of an aggressive tanking. So you have light armor, which is more of the CC crowd control type. You have heavy armor, which is more like in your face, face tanking. And then you have medium armor, which is going to be definitely more based around like dodge rolling and avoiding damage. Where heavy armor is like, I'm going to take a beating. And now with this new change to the magic defense in heavy armor, that's going to be weird because like a lot of us are used to having the same defensive capabilities in heavy armor, like higher resistance values, but now our magical damage is going to be increased by a certain percentage that we take. So this is going to be, again, it's going to be complicated for tanks to get used to, but it's also going to be easy to understand once you have the advanced stat system showing you like, okay, this is your defenses against magic attack, against flame, frost, and shock, and here's your defenses against poison, disease, bleed, and physical. And so you're going to have these different things showing you that, and it's gonna really help. I think the people who want to tank in the different armor types. I think it's going to really help the people who want to play damage dealers. Of like even somebody who wants to use a mix of magic and stamina, because with this new system, even with this new CP system, hybridizing your character will be easier to do because of the way damage will work. Damage is going to be more based on single target and area of effect damage, and not so much on like this amplifies all your damage across the board, or that we know that they showed. Again, a lot of this we have to wait until a lot of us content creators have time to look at the CP system, especially a lot of theory crafters. A lot of us theory crafters are going to really be breaking this down and looking at every aspect of this stuff for min-maxing. Because even though, I might do the more casual type play style, or, the more roleplay play style, or the more whatever you want to call it. And then you have people like Alcast, who does more of the min-maxing for real in-game, like not real in-game, but more of the hardcore in-game. And then you have people like Nephis, who's even part of that group. And then you have, Hack the Minotaur, who kind of does a mix of everything. And then you have Zynode, who does a mix of everything. Then you have, a lot of the other content creators. And there's so many of us, guys. It's not even funny, but it's going to be hard. Like, we're all going to have our different likes and dislikes to the champion system, I'm pretty sure. And I think we're all going to have our likes and dislikes for the light armor, medium armor, heavy armor stuff, the advanced stats, and we're all going to have our own different theories, our own different ideas on what we think is best for a build to use based on this. And until we can get in and really test this, like I said, I'll be able to test the champion point system pretty easily out the door, because I can make a CP, 3,600 right out the door on the PTS. And I'm going to test this stuff with my normal build. I'm going to go in and recreate her and set her up with all this stuff and go, okay, how does this work for me as a player? One of the other things they talked about was sometime in February for PvP players, just to let you know, all proc sets, no matter what kind of proc they do, whether it's damage, whether it amplifies your damage, any of that, will be disabled in February, sometime late February, I think he said, to test if that reduces the strain on the game. Because if it does, and it gives better performance, then I'm guessing that a lot of proc sets are going to go bye-bye. They'll just either remove them. Well, they probably won't remove them. They'll probably revamp all the proc sets in the game so they don't work the way they do, or they work in a different way, so that the system doesn't have to calculate as much. Like and this goes for arena sets. They said arena weapons, arena sets, trial sets, dungeon sets, you name it. Anything that gives you a proc effect or a proc capability that amplifies something, those things are going to be disabled to test the combat system in PvP and to see if it has a performance effect or not. Because if it does, then we should see some sort of change. But that is pretty much it for this video, guys. Like I said, read through this stuff yourself. Especially this. This gives a lot of information. It's gonna, again, it'll be confusing at first when you start reading it, and if you watch the live stream, you're probably even kind of confused, but it sounds really cool in theory. Again, a lot of the stuff they do is based on, trying to get their systems in check with the development of the game. So, like, and they're also changing the server infrastructure. So, like, their servers themselves, they're going to be replacing them with newer, updated technology or upgraded, motherboards, processors, all that kind of stuff. They said it won't make a huge difference on performance because it's just updating that. I think if they did it right, there could be some update, improvement in performance. But I think a lot of the performance, again, and I'm not trying to be negative here, has to do with where people play from. I know a personal friend of mine from India who plays the game, and he has, like, even on the EU servers, he has something like a 700 and something ping all the time. And so he doesn't do PvP at all. He can't even go into Cyrodiil without the game crashing on him 100 times. So he plays on the PvE side only. And then I know another person who plays out of Japan who has like a 1 gig internet connection like myself, and they still get disconnects hardcore in Cyrodiil, and sometimes in trials. And then I have another friend in Europe who has the same issues. I don't remember which one of my many friends in Europe it is. If it's one in England, if it's one in Scotland, Ireland, Sweden, the Netherlands, Ukraine, even the 2 people I know from Russia that I've played with a few times, have said that they all have issues. Like, even people in the United States who live in, a lot of people who live on in California that I know, a lot of them have issues with their internet connection. And they complain all the time that they can't stay, they get disconnected on trials in raid or in trials in PvP. And not only in PvP Cyrodiil, but also Battlegrounds and in the Imperial City. And it depends on if there's a major event going on. If there's major events going on, they get lots of disconnects. These people that I'm talking about. Myself, I am on a 1 gig connection, and it's funny because, like, I rarely have issue playing the game. I get disconnects, I mean, not even Blue Moon style. Like, I mean, so rare, like maybe twice a year I might get a disconnect. And it's usually something to do with them doing maintenance on my internet that does it. It has nothing to do with the game itself. It has nothing to do with the servers. It has to do with the internet connection I have. And a lot of people's issues are that, because when they removed, and never mind, I don't want to get into this because that's political stuff, and I don't want to leave that off my channel. But they did remove something, an internet safety thing that was there. And when they did that, it basically gave internet providers the right to bottleneck our internet, bottleneck our bandwidth, and things like that in high traffic areas or whatever, because of that issue, because of not the issue, but because That's just them. It's, you know, they want you to pay for the support team and all that kind of stuff. So they want you calling in, and I don't know. I don't know. I like I said, I don't want to get into it. I don't do that stuff anymore. I used to be one of those people who did the phone calls and, you know, answered people's problems, and didn't like it. Didn't like the job at all. Did it for like 3 months and quit. But that's my point. Like, there's a lot of things. And again, I need to get this video done. So but yeah, check out this stuff. Like I said, I'll have links to the trailer. I'll have links to this one here that goes over the information about what's coming with the new Gates of Oblivion season and all that. I don't know how much of these are working, these links, but you can check them out yourselves. I thought they had a Flames of Ambition, would have had a post up yet already of Flames of Ambition, because like it's literally hitting the PTS tomorrow, and they usually have something that goes along with it. Yeah, so, but I'll keep you guys up to date as best I can when I get information, when I get news on this. I also have a Discord that I try to keep updated with new news and stuff as much as I can. I've been a little lax lately because I've literally been on a major hiatus. I've been playing a lot of Red Dead online, and also Grand Theft Auto online. And now that this information's come out and this stuff's come out, this is what I've been waiting for a while. I've been waiting for something that could hopefully draw me back into the game in a way that will make the game more enjoyable to me. And I'm hoping that it's this new champion system, the new armor changes, and the new advanced stats that really pull me in for what's to come. So, like, when they announced the Gates of Oblivion, I thought that the chapter was going to have all that other stuff. But the fact that we're getting champions with the chapter, I can't wait to hear more about it. So, or companions, sorry. So that's it. Again, I'm done. I'm out of here. So you guys know what's coming next. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can subscribe. And if you do subscribe, I do suggest you hit that notification bell to be notified when I post new videos. This helps me out, and it helps you out at the same time. But yeah, other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day. And this guy might see you in game. Bye.